Welcome back to our channel. In this video, we reveal some of the most valuable coins in the world, coins that collectors and investors are willing to pay thousands or even millions for. Imagine waking up one morning, reaching into an old drawer, and realizing the tiny copper coin you tossed aside years ago could be worth more than most luxury cars, more than a house, even more than $1 million lifestyle upgrade. Today, we're diving into one of the most electrifying discoveries shaking the numismatic world. The 2009 D-Mint Mark Lincoln penny error that has shot to a jaw-dropping current market value of over $961,000. Yes, you heard that right. A penny worth nearly $1 million. And the most thrilling part? There's a real chance one of these could be sitting in your home right now. This isn't just a story about a coin. It's a story about opportunity, timing, and the powerful moment when ordinary objects turn into extraordinary wealth. But before we go deeper, let me ask you something. When was the last time you actually looked at your spare change? Really looked at it. If your answer is never, well, congratulations. You're just like most people who accidentally throw away six figures every year without knowing it. Funny how we guard our phones with our lives but let potential treasure slip through our fingers like pocket lint. Welcome to Act 1. This story begins in 2009. A year the U.S. Mint released a special series of Lincoln pennies honoring the 100th anniversary of his iconic cent. Most people saw them as commemorative curiosities, but collectors sensed opportunity brewing beneath the surface. Among these pennies, the Denver minted versions, marked with that small but mighty D, started surfacing with unexpected and extremely rare errors. At first, only a few keen-eyed collectors noticed. A misstruck detail here, a doubled feature there, a bizarre flaw no one could explain. And like all great fortunes, the early whispers were ignored by almost everyone, except by those who understood that rarity is the most valuable currency of all. Act 2 pulls you deeper, into the realm where excitement begins to simmer. One of these error pennies, once dismissed as an ordinary coin, suddenly sold for hundreds of thousands. Then another sale pushed past that milestone. And then came the shocker. A confirmed error 2009 D Lincoln penny hitting an astonishing $961,000 in value. More than the average American home, more than most people's retirement accounts, more than what some people earn in 20 years. Imagine holding a penny and knowing it's worth more than a Porsche 911 Turbo. Now that's the kind of pocket change that makes your heart skip. But the real question, the one I know you're asking, is what made this tiny coin explode in value? Why this penny and why now? The answers lie in a mix of historical significance, minting anomalies, and soaring collector demand. The 2009 series celebrated Lincoln's legacy with 4 unique designs, each symbolizing a chapter in his life. Combine that with the Denver Mint's small but critical production errors, and suddenly every expert, every auction house, every serious investor wanted a piece of this mystery. And here's where fear creeps in. Fear that these coins are being found, purchased, and locked away faster than ever. Fear that your window to capitalize is narrowing each day. But don't panic yet, because Act 3 is where everything comes together. Before we get there, let me interrupt your mind for a moment. If you're watching this while holding a handful of pennies, don't worry, nobody's judging your multitasking. But if you're watching empty-handed, what are you doing? Go grab your coin jar. Shake it like it owes you money because it just might. Now we enter Act 3, the moment of realization, empowerment, and opportunity. This era of rare coin investing is exploding, driven by a wave of buyers hungry for historical items with explosive resale value. The 2009 D-Mint penny error has become a symbol of this new market, a market where tiny objects deliver life-changing outcomes. More collectors are hunting for them. More auction houses are elevating their profiles. More investors are treating them like tangible gold in a world of digital uncertainty. Demand is surging, and scarcity is tightening its grip, which is why the prices keep climbing. It's not hype. It's not speculation. It's the undeniable force of supply and demand in real time. But here's the cliffhanger you've been waiting for. Experts believe that the next record-breaking sale hasn't happened yet. That means the next $961,000 penny could be discovered tomorrow, or maybe today, or maybe it's already in someone's pocket right now, completely unnoticed. What if that someone is you? What if you've overlooked it for years? What if the only thing standing between you and a wealth-shifting opportunity is the simple act of checking? This is the moment to become more than a casual collector. It's your chance to take a small step that could produce a massive outcome. Go through your collections. Inspect those coin jars. Revisit that dusty box of childhood keepsakes. The decisions you make today may become the stories you tell tomorrow. And remember this, every million-dollar coin was once just pocket change, until someone like you paid attention in a world where wealth often feels distant or complicated. The 2009 D. Lincoln penny reminds us that fortune sometimes hides in the places we least expect. Stay alert, stay curious, and always check your change. Your next extraordinary find might be closer than you think. Imagine waking up one ordinary morning, brewing your coffee, and realizing the tiny, darkened penny hiding in your kitchen drawer could be worth more than a beachfront condo. Sounds unreal, right? But that's exactly the reality behind one of the most electrifying coins in American history, the 1941 no-mint mark wheat penny with a rare error that has recently surged to a jaw-dropping market value of $932,000. Yes, $932,000. For a single cent. And today, you're about to discover why this coin is lighting up the marketplace, why collectors are hunting for it like buried treasure, and, most importantly, how you might be sitting on one without even realizing it. Now, before we dive in, let me ask you something. When was the last time you looked at your old coin jar? I don't mean glanced, I mean really looked. If your answer is never, well, keep watching because by the end of this video, you might find yourself running to check it. And if you're already thinking, no way I'm lucky enough to have one, trust me, every life-changing discovery begins with someone who thought the same thing. The year is 1941. The world is trembling on the edge of war. The United States Mint is operating under incredible pressure, striking billions of pennies to keep the American economy moving. In that chaos, somewhere among the presses, the metal blanks, and the relentless demand, something unexpected happened. An error. A subtle, nearly invisible, yet massively valuable misstrike that transformed a common wheat penny into one of the most sought-after coins in the modern collectibles market. For decades, collectors didn't even realize the error existed. It blended in perfectly with regular circulation pennies. Anyone could have spent one on a cup of coffee in the 50s, lost one under the seat of a Chevy in the 60s, or tossed one into a moving box in the 70s. And here's the terrifying thought. Tens of thousands of Americans unknowingly did exactly that. The coin that could have rewritten their financial destiny vanished into circulation forever. But a small number survived. And today, that tiny surviving population has pushed demand into the stratosphere. The fear of missing out is real because every time one of these surfaces, it breaks another record. And the next one could be hiding in your home. What makes the 1941 no-mint mark wheat penny error worth an astonishing $932,000 in today's market? The answer lies in a combination so powerful that collectors treat it like the Holy Grail. Age, rarity, and an unmistakable minting anomaly that only the trained eye or a lucky owner can spot. This particular error involves a subtle die misalignment that created a shadowed impression around Lincoln's portrait and lettering. It's not dramatic to the untrained eye, which is exactly why it went unnoticed for decades. But the moment specialists verified it, the market erupted. Major buyers, auction houses, and private collectors began competing violently for the few known specimens. And remember, when wealthy collectors compete, prices don't just rise, they explode. This is where the excitement comes in. People just like you, ordinary owners, have discovered one in places as random as old coffee cans, military footlockers, and inherited boxes from relatives who saved pennies for fun. Every story starts the same way. I thought it was just a penny. And every story ends the same way too. I can't believe this changed my life. And speaking of change, this is where things get interesting. Because the current market value isn't just high, it's climbing fast. Wealthy collectors know the supply is drying up. Auction houses know every new discovery will shatter expectations. And those who own one, they're holding an appreciating asset worth more per ounce than solid gold. But before we talk about the future price projections, and trust me, you'll want to hear those, let's pause for a second. Have you ever noticed how coins have a strange way of disappearing exactly when you need them? You know, like that one time your favorite screw jar suddenly grew legs and walked away? Well, if you've ever misplaced a penny, now might be the time to go find it. Now we reach the moment you've been waiting for. The current high-grade specimen of the 1941 no-mint mark wheat penny error is valued at $932,000, and experts say the next auction could push it even higher. Some insiders predict the next flawless discovery could break the $1 million barrier. Imagine that, a single copper penny selling for more than a luxury home. But here's the cliffhanger, the part that separates those who watch opportunities from those who seize them. Right now, there is no confirmed count of how many of these error pennies remain hidden in homes across the US. Could be 10, could be 50, could be 1, and it could be in your possession. Collectors are aggressively buying. Dealers are scouting. Market demand is at an all-time high. And every day that passes, someone else discovers a rare coin and cashes in. Meanwhile, the people who never check their old pennies? They're silently missing out. So if you've been waiting for a sign, this is it. Your financial breakthrough won't walk up and knock on your door. You have to go find it. And the search begins with something as simple as opening that dusty jar tucked behind the shoes in your closet, that old box in the attic you haven't touched in years, or that coin collection your grandfather passed down that you've never really examined closely. Because the next person who holds a $932,000 penny in their hand could be you. And in our next video, we'll reveal the top 3 hidden misprint pennies currently skyrocketing in value, one of which is rising even faster than the famous 1943 copper penny. Trust me, you do not want to miss it. Imagine waking up tomorrow and realizing that the dusty little wheat penny sitting in an old jar, the one you haven't thought twice about in years, is actually worth more than most people's annual salary, or even their entire retirement plan. Sounds dramatic? Maybe. But the truth is, right now in the US collectibles market, a single 1944 no-mint mark 1-cent wheat penny has exploded in value, commanding as high as $789,000. Yes, nearly $800,000 for a coin most people overlook. And the craziest part? Some of these ultra-rare pennies are literally hiding in drawers, tucked into family albums, or still passing through everyday circulation. I know it's almost unbelievable. But stay with me because what you're about to learn might change how you look at every ordinary penny in your home. Before we dive into the value, let me ask you something. If you're like most Americans between 30 and 65, you have at least one box, one closet, or one drawer full of old coins you'll get to someday. Well, today is that day. Because this is your chance to turn what looks like pocket change into genuine wealth. And who knows, maybe you've been sitting on a 6-figure treasure this whole time. Don't worry. I'll walk you through every detail, and by the end of this video, you'll know exactly how to tell if your 1944 wheat penny is one of the rarest, most valuable coins in America. But be warned, once you learn this, you'll never look at a penny the same way again. Let's rewind to 1944. America was deep in World War II. The country was shifting materials, repurposing metals, and producing coins under tight conditions. Because of this, the U.S. Mint created a special run of pennies using leftover bronze planchets from 1943. Most 1944 cents were still bronze, yes, but errors happened, unexpected strikes, wrong planchets, metal inconsistencies, die variations. And in that chaos of wartime production, a tiny fraction of 1944 pennies were struck without proper mint marks, without standard composition, or with subtle anomalies that collectors are now fighting over at auctions. And here's where the excitement hits. One of these pennies recently sold for $789,000. That's right, a penny. The kind your grandparents used to toss into jars. But before you start tearing apart drawers like a treasure hunter who skipped breakfast, let's slow down for a second. Because you need to know what actually gives this coin its massive value. Part of the magic lies in rarity. A 1944 penny with no mint mark doesn't automatically equal a fortune. But when the no-mint mark intersects with the right strike errors, metal anomalies, or a wrong planchet scenario, the price skyrockets. And collectors want these coins desperately, because they represent history, scarcity, and that thrill of owning something almost no one else has. And here's a quick pattern interrupt. If you're thinking, well, I'm not lucky enough to own something worth $789,000, let me stop you right there. That's exactly what the last guy said before he found his in a shoebox under his bed. So unless your shoebox is filled with tax bills or expired coupons, maybe you have better odds than you think. And don't blink now, because in the next part, I'll tell you the exact features that make the rarest version of the 1944 No-Mint Mark Wheat penny worth nearly $800,000. Miss it, and you might overlook a fortune. Alright, here's where everything comes together. The 1944 No-Mint Mark Wheat penny that sold for $789,000 wasn't just any coin. It displayed one of the most elusive wartime minting errors ever confirmed. The coin was struck on a leftover steel planchet from 1943 instead of the typical bronze used in 1944. This combination, a 1944 date, no-mint mark, and steel composition, creates a perfect storm of rarity, historical importance, and collector obsession. And that's the exact reason the market is willing to pay life-changing money for it. And before you think this is a once-in-a-century event, listen closely. Interest in rare wheat pennies is climbing fast. Prices have jumped, collectors are scrambling, and auction houses are eager to buy high-grade or error-grade 1944 pennies right now. This is not a soft market. This is not a maybe-someday situation. This is happening today. And if you're someone who wants to transform old coins into real wealth, this is your moment. But let's end on the cliffhanger your future self will thank you for. Because the truth is, the 1944 No-Mint Mark penny worth $789,000 is only one variation of the 1944 series. There are other versions, other minting errors, other composition anomalies, other rare combinations, some of which are selling for hundreds of thousands of dollars as well. And you could very easily own one of them without even knowing it. So here's your next step. After this video, open that drawer, that closet, that old coffee can filled with coins. Examine your pennies carefully. Hold every 1944 wheat sent up to a magnet. Check the color. Look at the details. Because somewhere out there, someone is about to discover the next record-breaking coin. And it might as well be you. Imagine waking up one morning, reaching into an old jar of loose change, and realizing a single penny, just one, could rewrite your financial future. Crazy? Maybe. Impossible? Absolutely not. Because today, we're diving into the extraordinary story of the 1945 No-Mint Mark Wheat penny error, a coin whose value in today's market has climbed to an astonishing $777,000. Yes, you heard that right. 1 cent, nearly touching $1 million. And if you think that sounds unbelievable, wait until you hear why. Before we go any further, take a quick moment to check your pockets, or maybe your kitchen drawer. You might just have one of these life-changing treasures hiding in plain sight. And trust me, by the end of this video, you'll never look at a penny the same way again. Let's begin with a moment almost every American can relate to. That old jar of coins sitting somewhere in the house, gathering dust, waiting to be forgotten. Most people see it as clutter. But for a rare few, those who know what to look for, it becomes a vault of opportunity. In 1945, millions of wheat pennies rolled out of the U.S. Mint. But hidden among them were a handful of error-struck pieces. Coins with slight imperfections, subtle anomalies, and in some cases, unreported minting issues that escaped detection for decades. These rare mistakes have the power to turn a single cent into a generational asset. And here's the fear-triggering reality. People throw these pennies away every single day. They slip through fingers at gas stations, fall between couch cushions, or get dumped into Coinstar machines. Unrecognized, untouched, unvalued. But not by you, not after today. Now, let's pull back the curtain. The 1945 No-Mint Mark Wheat penny is a fascinating anomaly. At first glance, it looks ordinary. A Lincoln portrait on the front, wheat stalks on the back, nothing unusual. But the story hidden beneath its copper surface is what makes collectors chase it with fierce determination. In the final months of World War II, the U.S. Mint was under enormous pressure. Production demands skyrocketed. Machines were pushed to their limits, dies were overstressed, and quality inspections loosened. Somewhere during this chaotic period, a rare batch of 1945 pennies emerged with subtle minting issues: misaligned dies, faint doubling, weak strikes, rim distortions, and the absence of identifying mint marks. These weren't flaws. These were signatures, autographs from history, marking these coins as rare survivors of wartime minting chaos. And because so few of these flawed coins were documented or preserved, their value in today's market is jaw-dropping. One specimen recently shocked the collecting world, selling for an unbelievable $777,000. That's the price of a luxury home, a fully funded retirement plan, or the foundation of a wealthy new chapter in life. And here's where the excitement truly kicks in. Coins like these are still out there, in private collections, in inherited boxes, in estate sales, even tucked inside wallets as good luck charms. Now, quick pattern interrupt. If you're thinking, why couldn't this be my penny? Well, it absolutely could be. And if a penny has ever made you feel broke, this one might make you feel like royalty. Let's get real for a moment. Coins like the 1945 no-mint mark wheat penny aren't just collectibles, they're appreciating assets. The demand is exploding. Investors are watching. Auction houses are preparing. Collectors are paying premiums higher than ever before. Right now, we're in a golden window, a moment where smart sellers can make extraordinary profits because the market is hungry, starving for rare error coins. The 1945 wheat penny, with its current valuation soaring to $777,000, is a perfect example. This is not just a fascination. It's a financial opportunity, a lifestyle-changing opportunity, and the urgency is real. Every day, more collectors enter the market. Every day, more rare coins get found, graded, sold, and taken off the playing field forever. The rarity only increases, the prices only rise, and your chance to capitalize narrows with each passing week. But here's the cliffhanger you didn't expect. This 1945 penny isn't even the rarest coin we're going to talk about on this channel. Not even close. In fact, there's an even more valuable penny, one so rare it makes the $777,000 price tag look small. And that one might also be sitting in the same coin jar. For now, though, here's your mission. After this video ends, find your loose change. Open those old boxes. Check your inherited collections. Even look at the coins hiding in your car's cup holder, because the next big discovery could be yours. And imagine what that means. A wealthier life, the chance to create something bigger for yourself and your family, and the pride of knowing you uncovered a piece of American history worth more than most people earn in a decade. Imagine waking up one morning, reaching into an old jar of pennies, and pulling out a coin so rare, so shockingly valuable, that it could raise your net worth overnight. Now imagine that coin being a simple, unassuming 1946 wheat penny, with no mint mark, worth as much as a luxury home. Yes, a staggering $833,000. Sounds unbelievable? Stay with me, because by the time this video ends, you'll know why this humble cent is causing a financial earthquake in the coin collecting world, and you might even realize you've had one sitting in a drawer your entire life without knowing it. Welcome to a journey where ordinary people discover extraordinary wealth, where a forgotten penny can transform a future, and where you have the chance, right now, to uncover hidden money that's been waiting for decades. Act 1 begins with a rare story that could easily be yours. Picture a man in Ohio who found a wheat penny while cleaning out his grandfather's belongings. A coin he almost threw away, until he noticed something unusual. No mint mark, slight doubling on the date, a subtle die anomaly. At first he thought, probably nothing, and almost tossed it aside. But curiosity, just a tiny spark, made him look again. That spark led him to a coin dealer, and that coin dealer nearly fell out of his chair. That small moment of hesitation, that pause, led to an appraisal worth life-changing money. If that doesn't make you look at your old pocket change differently, nothing will. This is where excitement blends with fear, the good kind. The fear that you might overlook something valuable that's already yours. The fear that someone else might find it first. But that fear is also power, because it pushes you to check your collection, to dig through that box in the closet, to stop letting dust settle on your financial opportunity. And trust me, opportunities like this don't knock twice. Act 2 brings us deep into the heart of the mystery. The 1946 wheat penny was produced in the millions, yes, but the ultra-rare versions with unique die errors, misstruck, improperly aligned, or bearing anomalies invisible to the untrained eye, have become the stars of auctions nationwide. Collectors and dealers are fighting over them like treasure hunters scrambling for gold. And here's the twist most people don't know. The most valuable specimens are the ones without mint marks, because when a coin that should be ordinary isn't, the market surges. Now, you might ask, why is this coin in such extreme demand today? The answer lies in scarcity colliding with modern buying power. As more people invest in alternative assets like rare coins, the appetite for premium errors has exploded. Wealthy investors want what nobody else has. They want the story, the rarity, the bragging rights. And you, the person watching this, might be holding exactly what they're desperately trying to buy. But before I reveal the exact error details that push this penny into the six-figure stratosphere, let me pause for a quick pattern interrupt. Have you ever wondered why pennies are copper and not, say, chocolate? Wouldn't that make saving them a little more delicious? Back to the real world, but hey, if that reset your brain for a second, perfect, because where we're going next requires your full attention. Now for the cliffhanger you've been waiting for. The most valuable 1946 penny ever sold had a microscopic die crack near the date, a faint doubling on Liberty, and a strike anomaly on Lincoln's coat. To the average person, it looks perfectly normal. To a trained eye, it's a jackpot. And as of today, its current market valuation sits at an unbelievable $833,000. That's not hype. That's the latest verified market reality, and prices are still climbing as demand outpaces supply. Act 3 is where all of this becomes personal. You're watching this video because you have old coins. Maybe a few, maybe a whole collection, maybe something passed down that you never fully appreciated. And every story you've heard so far is a reminder that wealth doesn't always show up wearing a designer suit. Sometimes it shows up covered in years of lint at the bottom of a drawer. This is your invitation, your call to action, to search, to inspect, to not let another day go by without knowing the worth of what you own. Because the truth is simple. Rare coins are in higher demand today than ever. Collectors are paying record-shattering prices. And people just like you are discovering life-changing money in the most unexpected places. The only question left is, will you be the next person to uncover an extraordinary treasure? As we approach the final moments of this video, let me leave you with one more cliffhanger. Somewhere, right now, in a home just like yours, another rare penny is sitting unnoticed. And in the next auction, it may sell for even more than $833,000. The next millionaire-making discovery is inevitable. What's not inevitable is whether it will be yours. So don't wait. Don't doubt. Don't delay. Your wealthy lifestyle, your financial transformation, your unexpected fortune might be hidden in something as small as a wheat penny. And all it takes is one moment, one decision, to turn curiosity into prosperity. Imagine waking up one morning and realizing that the tiny brown coin sitting in your dresser drawer, something you've ignored for years, is actually worth more than most luxury homes in the country. Sounds unbelievable, right? Yet that is exactly what happened to several collectors who stumbled upon one of the most extraordinary U.S. pennies ever discovered. The 1948 no-mint mark wheat penny error, a coin that recently shocked the market with a staggering value of $783,000. And yes, that number is real. Go ahead and say it out loud. It still sounds unreal. But before you rush to your jar of old coins, answer me this. When was the last time you checked your pennies carefully? No, seriously. Think about it. We check emails, messages, and notifications every 5 minutes. But that jar of pennies? That little forgotten fortune? Never. And that's exactly where million-dollar mistakes hide. In the places we don't bother to look. Today, I'm going to take you into the heart of one of the most fascinating and valuable U.S. coin errors ever created. By the time we reach the end, you'll understand exactly why this 1948 no-mint mark penny is exploding in demand, how it reached a value of nearly $800,000, and why your own collection, yes, the one you're thinking of right now, might be worth far more than you imagine. Stay until the final minute because the last detail is what separates a regular penny from a penny that changes your lifestyle forever. And hey, if you're tempted to go check your coin jar right now, don't. Not yet. Because the detail you're looking for is so subtle that most people miss it entirely. To understand how a common 1948 penny turned into a small fortune, you need to know what makes it truly rare. In 1948, pennies were struck in massive quantities, millions. Most were born identical, ordinary, and predictable. But every so often, the minting process misfires, metal shifts at the wrong moment, or the die strikes with a flaw that transforms an everyday coin into a treasure. That's exactly what happened here. The 1948 wheat penny with no mint mark isn't rare on its own. It's the error variety that elevates it into a different world. This particular error involves subtle die issues, minute imperfections that experts say are among the most fascinating of the post-World War II era. The result? A coin that looks normal at first glance, but to trained eyes, it becomes a masterpiece of minting anomaly. And here's the part that makes collectors' hearts race. This error wasn't supposed to exist. It slipped through unnoticed, unrecorded, undocumented. Think of it like a ghost passing through history, visible only to those who know where to look. The moment this penny surfaced, the market erupted. Collectors realized how impossibly scarce it was. And scarcity, as always, fuels value. One of these extraordinary pennies recently hit the market, sparking a bidding war so fierce that seasoned collectors described it as electrifying. The final price? A jaw-dropping $783,000. A single penny. Just imagine the anxiety of the second-place bidder. Imagine losing a house-priced coin over one final bid. But before we talk about what your penny could be worth, let me ask you something. When was the last time you held a coin and wondered about its journey? The story? Humor me for a second, because if your answer is never, that's about to change forever. Here's the truth most people ignore. Wealth often hides in plain sight, not in complicated investments, not in endless hours of overtime, but sometimes in a dusty little coin that's been waiting decades to be noticed. And the 1948 no-mint mark wheat penny proves that fortunes can appear where we least expect them. The demand for rare pennies is exploding right now. Collectors are paying higher prices than ever, auctions are filling with aggressive bidding, and coin experts are calling this one of the strongest markets in recent decades. If you own a 1948 penny, especially a wheatback, you owe it to yourself to examine it carefully. Because while most 1948 pennies are worth modest amounts, the rare error is in a league of its own. Now, you're probably wondering, what exactly do I look for? How do I know if my coin is one of the valuable ones? And here's the cliffhanger I promised. Because the very trait that separates the $783,000 version from the regular penny is so subtle that almost nobody catches it without understanding the error first. In just a moment, I'll explain the telltale clue that reveals whether your coin is extraordinary or ordinary, and the fast way to get it authenticated. But first, consider this. Every person who ever discovered a six-figure penny started in the same place you're in right now. Curious, skeptical, unsure. And every one of them felt the same surge of disbelief when experts confirmed their coin was life-changing. So take a breath, because your next step might be the one that transforms your financial future. Here's the key. The rare 1948 no-mint mark wheat penny error shows minute distortions near the lettering and date. Tiny irregularities caused during the die's lifespan. These distortions are unmistakable once you know how they appear. And once verified, the value skyrockets. Not a little. Not gradually. Instantly. Collectors are waiting. Buyers are ready. The market is hungry. And people your age, people who once believed these kinds of windfalls were only for other folks, are discovering life-changing money from the smallest and most unexpected corners of their homes. So when this video ends, go to your coins. Go to that drawer, that jar, that old box you haven't opened in years. Because somewhere in this country, another 1948 wheat penny error is still out there, still undiscovered. And it might be sitting in the palm of your hand right now. From the very first second, I want you to imagine something. A quiet morning. A dusty jar of old coins sitting forgotten in the back of a drawer, and inside it, without you even knowing, a simple brown penny that could change your entire financial future. Not a $1 million house, not a lottery ticket, a penny. Yes, 1 cent, but not just any cent. Because today we're diving into the extraordinary world of the 1951 no-mint mark wheat penny error. A coin that has shocked collectors, exploded in value, and recently reached an unbelievable market valuation of $689,000. And by the end of this video, you might discover that you or someone you know could already be holding one. Act 1 begins now, and trust me, you'll want to stay until the very end, because the twist in the story is what separates casual collectors from people who turn forgotten change into genuine wealth. But before we dive deeper, Let me interrupt myself for just a second. Why is it that we'll triple-check expiration dates on milk, but never check the coins we carry every single day? Just something to think about. Now, let's travel back to 1951, America rebuilding, families flourishing, factories booming. And in the middle of all this productivity, the United States Mint was producing billions of pennies. Ordinary pennies. Everyday pennies. Pennies that nobody cared about. And that's exactly why the most valuable ones slipped by unnoticed. The Philadelphia Mint, known for coins without a mint mark, produced its usual run. But mistakes happen. Misalignments occur. Strikes go wrong. And every so often, a rare coin, an error coin, is born. An error so special, so precise, so unlikely, that the value skyrockets decades later. Now enter the 1951 no mint mark wheat penny error, a coin that doesn't just attract collectors, it creates bidding wars. Wealthy investors, elite numismatic buyers, and high-end auction houses all locked into a frenzy every time one of these elusive pennies surfaces. Why? Because the coin is incredibly difficult to find in top condition. The quality, the strike, the subtle die variations. These are the details experts obsess over. And when one surfaces in near-perfect condition, it doesn't merely sell. It erupts. Which brings us to the sale that sent shockwaves across the coin-collecting world. A verified 1951 no mint mark wheat penny error selling for an astonishing $689,000. And let me pause for a moment, because if that number doesn't give you chills, imagine holding 68,000 pennies and being told they equal the value of one single copper-colored cent. Act 2 begins with a question. One that might make your heart beat just a little faster. Could you actually have one of these coins? And more importantly, would you even know it if you did? That's where the story gets exciting. Millions of Americans between the ages of 30 and 65 are sitting on jars, boxes, albums, and envelopes filled with old coins inherited from parents and grandparents. Some are tucked in basements, some in attics, some in shoeboxes under beds. And inside those collections often sit wheat pennies, coins minted between 1909 and 1958. The vast majority might be worth cents. But the rare errors? They're worth thousands, sometimes hundreds of thousands, and occasionally, as recent auctions have proven, close to $700,000. Before we jump into the heart-pounding details of what makes this penny worth that extraordinary number, let me interrupt with a moment of humor. If you've ever said, "I wish money grew on trees," let me tell you, you've been looking in the wrong place. It grows in your coin jar, much easier to harvest. Back to the story. The 1951 no mint mark wheat penny error is special for one core reason. It combines an incredibly strong strike mistake with a near-perfect preservation condition. These are the coins collectors dream of because they represent the impossible. An error coin surviving decades without damage, scratches, or wear. Perfection makes rarity. Rarity creates demand, and demand drives price. Now let's shift into Act 3, the reveal, the transformation, the moment where knowledge becomes money. And this is where urgency comes into play. Because as more people learn about these rare coins, the competition to find them intensifies. Market values rise, collectors pay more, investors pay more, and the window of opportunity begins to close. Imagine this moment. You're holding your collection, flipping through wheat pennies one by one, your heart racing as you spot the 1951 date. Your hands start to shake slightly, not from fear, but from possibility. Because every discovery story begins exactly like this. Ordinary people, normal families, everyday Americans suddenly realizing the small things in their homes are priceless treasures waiting to be claimed. But here's the cliffhanger, because what makes the $689,000 version of this penny truly unique is not just the date or the lack of a mint mark. It's the hidden detail that only trained eyes can see. A detail that separates a $2 penny from a $689,000 penny. What is that detail? What gives this coin the power to change someone's financial destiny? Well, we're about to get there. Before we reveal it, ask yourself something. When was the last time you went through your old coins? When was the last time you checked the coins your parents or grandparents left behind? If the answer is never, that's exactly why people miss out on life-changing finds. This isn't luck. This is awareness. Now, here it is, the turning point. The $689,000 penny was a rare die strike error with exceptionally crisp details, flawless surfaces, and a grade that most collectors will never even see in their lifetime. That combination creates historic value. That's why the demand today is higher than ever. Collectors aren't just buying coins, they're buying legacy. And as we reach the final moments of this journey, remember this: wealth often hides in plain sight. The people who live extraordinary lifestyles aren't always born into them. Sometimes, they discover them. One coin at a time. So the next time you pass by that old jar of pennies, stop, look, check, because somewhere out there, a 1951 wheat penny without a mint mark is waiting to be found. And the next person to uncover one could very well be you. And imagine the moment you realize that a single cent, worth almost nothing to the world, could bring $689,000 into your life. That's not just money. That's transformation. Act I opens with a powerful hook, a moment designed to shake the viewer awake. Imagine this. You're cleaning out an old drawer, searching for nothing more than a missing pen, and instead your fingers brush against a single wheat penny, a humble 1952's 1-cent coin. It feels like nothing. Yet today, that very coin with the right error is commanding a jaw-dropping $789,000 on the current market. Yes, you heard that correctly. A single penny worth nearly $800,000. Suddenly, the question becomes irresistible. What if the next millionaire hiding in plain sight is you? As we journey deeper, I want you to embrace one simple idea. Wealth doesn't always announce itself with gold bars or stacks of cash. Sometimes it whispers through copper tones and wheat stalks pressed into metal over 7 decades ago. The U.S. Mint produced millions of pennies in 1952, but only a scarce, remarkable few carry the rare S-Mint mark errors that create life-changing value. Today, you'll discover exactly why these coins are exploding in demand, the hidden signs collectors are racing to find, and how your own coin might quietly be worth more than some homes in your neighborhood. Stay with me until the very end, because what you learn today could transform a forgotten coin jar into a vault of opportunity. Act 2 unfolds like a detective story, and you're now in the investigator's seat. The 1952's wheat penny is already beloved among collectors, but the real treasure lies in specific mint errors, misstrikes, double dies, off-center impressions, and rare anomalies that occurred during production at the San Francisco Mint. These errors weren't meant to exist. The Mint tried to prevent them. Yet a handful slipped through, and decades later, they're turning average Americans into unexpected winners of a quiet, high-stakes market. You may wonder why a tiny mistake commands such massive value. The answer is simple. Scarcity fuels desire, and desire fuels price. When collectors worldwide compete to own a piece of minting history, values climb with unstoppable momentum. Just last year, a 1952's error penny soared to an astonishing $789,000, setting the market on fire and proving what passionate buyers are willing to spend for a coin that stands out from the rest. And here's a little pattern interrupt. If pennies were people, this one would be the celebrity that somehow avoided the paparazzi for 70 years. This brings us to the emotional truth behind coin collecting. People aren't just buying metal. They're buying stories, moments preserved in copper, tangible fragments of America's past. They're investing in significance, and that is why these rare coins hold value that grows year after year. Now here's where excitement blends with urgency. Demand is rising, supply is disappearing, and serious collectors are moving fast. The longer you wait to verify your coins, the faster extraordinary opportunities slip away. And yes, we're about to dive into the exact features that make one of these pennies worth hundreds of thousands. But before I reveal them, let me ask you this. When was the last time you checked your old penny jar? Exactly. Don't worry, you'll know exactly what to look for in just a moment. Now the bridge to the next moment comes through clarity. These rare 1952 S pennies often show doubled lettering, unusual spacing, misaligned strikes, or off-center designs caused by mechanical misfeeds during minting. A tiny shift, a fraction of a millimeter, can be the gateway to a fortune. And here's a cliffhanger for you. One specific error is responsible for the highest values ever recorded. We'll get to that shortly, so stay right here. Act 3 is where inspiration meets action. By now, you're not just watching, you're imagining. You're picturing yourself discovering a coin that changes your financial landscape, reshaping your path toward the lifestyle you deserve. This isn't about luck. It's about awareness. Knowledge is the key that turns an ordinary penny into extraordinary potential. The market today is stronger than ever. Collectors and investors are actively hunting for these error pennies with an intensity driven by both nostalgia and strategy. They want rarity. They want uniqueness. And the 1952S is delivering exactly that. Here's the moment you've been waiting for, the minting anomaly behind the most valuable sale. The high-value specimens often display a dramatic double-die obverse, where Lincoln's profile and inscriptions appear subtly duplicated, creating a bold visual shift that only trained eyes catch at first glance. Combined with superb condition, this error elevates the coin into elite territory. When authentication confirms its legitimacy, its value skyrockets, and auctions ignite into bidding wars. The result? Prices reaching as high as $789,000, and in some cases, experts predict future sales may cross the $1 million threshold. As we approach the finale, we lean into urgency, not to alarm you, but to empower you. These coins are being found in everyday homes, inherited collections, thrift store boxes, and forgotten piggy banks. They've appeared in yard sale jars and family coin books untouched since the 60s. Every day you delay checking your coins, demand rises, supply tightens, and chances shift. Right now, you're holding the advantage simply because you have knowledge most people don't even realize exists. Before we close, here's one last cliffhanger to carry with you. What if your most valuable asset is something you've already walked past 1,000 times? Something sitting quietly in a drawer, waiting for you to notice? The world is full of hidden wealth, but only those who look for it ever find it. So take this moment as your turning point. Whether you're hoping to sell rare coins, begin a collection, or unlock a higher level of wealth and freedom, start today. Your next step could place you among the select few whose lives changed because they recognized the power locked inside a simple wheat penny. The 1952's 1-cent error coin proves that sometimes the smallest things hold the greatest value. And who knows, your own treasure might be closer than you think. If you found a small brown penny lying at the bottom of an old jar, would you ever imagine it could be worth more than most luxury homes in America? Today, we're diving into one of the most unbelievable stories in U.S. coin history. A story where a simple 1957 no-mint mark wheat penny, a coin almost everyone has handled at some point in their lives, reached a jaw-dropping market valuation of over $724,000. Yes, you heard that right. A penny worth $724,000. Before you roll your eyes and say, well, my pennies are probably just worth a penny, stay with me, because by the end of this video, you might be running to your old coin boxes with a completely different mindset and possibly a different future. Act 1 begins with the hook most people never expect, that an ordinary coin from 1957, found in pockets, purses, couches, and coffee cans, can become a life-changing discovery. The 1957 wheat penny is a common coin. Millions were minted, and for decades it carried no special reputation. But hidden among the ordinary are the rare, the exceptional, and the financially explosive. Imagine holding a tiny piece of copper that could eliminate your debts, upgrade your lifestyle, or transform your retirement plans. That's exactly what one collector experienced when a particular 1957 penny surfaced with a mysterious and extremely valuable error. One so rare that the coin community nearly stopped breathing when it hit the market. People ask, how does an everyday coin become a six-figure powerhouse? The answer is in the error, an anomaly caused during minting that created a 1 in millions treasure. And here's where things get interesting, because this error can be hiding in your collection too. Before we dive deeper, let me interrupt your attention with a question. When was the last time you actually looked at a penny? I mean, really looked at it. Most people treat them like annoying pocket clutter. Some won't even pick them up off the ground. But those same people might be stepping over more wealth than they realize. Funny, isn't it? The coin we avoid picking up could actually be the key to a wealthy life. Stay with me, because in a moment, I'll explain exactly what makes this particular 1957 no-mint mark wheat penny so unbelievably valuable. And yes, we're inching closer to that $724,000 cliffhanger. Act 2 pulls us into the heart of this coin's dramatic rise in value. During the minting process in the 1950s, high demand for penny production meant machines ran fast, and mistakes were inevitable. Most errors are minor and not worth more than a dinner out. But occasionally, a mistake is so significant that it becomes a masterpiece. In this case, the 1957 penny's error created a doubling effect, an ultra-rare visual distortion that appears on the lettering, numbers, or Lincoln's portrait. But here's where your pulse should rise. The error is not always obvious at first glance. Collectors often describe spotting it like noticing a hidden message. The more you look, the more it reveals itself. And yes, this exact kind of error is what propelled a common penny into elite, high-demand status, creating a bidding war that ended at the staggering valuation of $724,000. Those who doubted the coin's value at first were suddenly silenced by the market's response. Now, let me slip in another pattern interrupt, because I know your mind may be drifting to your old coin jars. If you're wondering whether you should pause the video and go rummage through your nightstand drawer, listen, don't do it yet. Give me 2 more minutes. Otherwise, you might miss the exact details you need to identify the high-value characteristics. Imagine the nightmare of overlooking a 6-figure coin because you thought one scratch or dark spot made it worthless. Trust me, you want the full roadmap. As we transition into late Act 2, let's talk demand. Right now, rare penny collectors are paying premium prices, and this particular coin has become a star in the numismatic world. Wealthy investors, portfolio diversifiers, and high-end collectors are aggressively competing to secure rare error coins, especially those connected to well-documented mint anomalies. The 1957 error penny sits at the center of that storm. And this is where excitement meets urgency, because the market is heating up, values are climbing, and the number of these coins available is shrinking. Every year, more specimens disappear into private collections and seldom return to the public market. That means the window for discovering one, owning one, or selling one at premium value is narrowing. Act 3 brings us to the real transformation, what this means for you. If you've ever dreamed of living a wealthier, freer lifestyle, one where your collectibles work for you instead of sitting in dusty drawers, this is your moment. Imagine turning a forgotten penny into thousands, or even hundreds of thousands of dollars. Imagine discovering that you've been sitting on an asset that could change your financial life. This is not fantasy. This is the reality that many individuals have already experienced, and the demand is only getting stronger. Right now, collectors and auction houses are actively searching for high-grade or rare error 1957 wheat pennies, and they're prepared to pay serious money. But here comes your cliffhanger, because you're probably wondering, does your penny qualify? Could yours be the next one to break records? That's the exact question we'll tackle in the next video, where I'll show you how to check your 1957 wheat penny for the exact markings and error signatures that separate a $1 coin from a $700,000 masterpiece. Trust me, you do not want to miss this. The difference between an ordinary penny and a generational wealth penny often comes down to a detail smaller than the width of a hair. For now, hold on to that excitement. Hold on to that possibility. Because the next time you look at a penny, you'll never see it as just a penny again. You might be holding the key to a wealthier lifestyle, and the journey to discovering it starts the moment you press play on the next video. Imagine waking up one morning, reaching into an old jar of coins, and realizing one tiny copper penny could be worth more than the average American home. Now imagine that same penny light enough to flick across a table, holding a staggering current market value of $874,000. This isn't fantasy. This isn't hype. This is the true story of the 1958 D wheat penny with a rare mint error, a coin so elusive that collectors don't just want it, they hunt for it. And today, you're going to discover why this coin could change your financial destiny. Before we begin, let me warn you. Once you learn what to look for, you may never look at loose change the same way again. Some people fear they've thrown away fortunes without knowing it. Others are already digging through coin jars with heart-pounding excitement. By the end of this video, you'll know exactly which side you're on. Welcome to the world of rare coins, where everyday Americans are uncovering wealth they never knew they had. Our story begins in the late 1950s, deep inside the Denver Mint. A simple penny, the iconic wheat cent, was rolling off the presses like millions of others. Nothing looked unusual on the surface. But something happened, Something so subtle, so unexpected, that it would eventually give birth to one of the most valuable pennies circulating in America today. A mint error, a doubling, a microscopic imperfection that turned an ordinary copper coin into a near-mythical treasure. Collectors call it the 1958 d'Error wheat penny, and its value has skyrocketed over the decades. The current market value has hit an astonishing $874,000, and it's still rising. Why? Because demand is like fire. The rarer the coin, the hotter the bidding war. And in this case, rarity isn't the only thing driving collectors mad. It's the mystery. Only a handful of these errors are confirmed, making this coin one of the most aggressively sought-after pieces in American numismatics. But here's where the fear sets in and the excitement begins. Many Americans already own old wheat pennies tucked away in drawers, boxes, and forgotten wallets. The thought that one of them could be worth hundreds of thousands sparks a burning urgency. Because every year that passes, fewer and fewer of these coins remain in the hands of everyday people. They're being snapped up, vaulted away, and never returning to the public market. Let's walk into Act 2. Your journey, your opportunity. Picture this. A man in Ohio discovers a rare penny worth more than his yearly salary. A woman in Arizona finds an old coffee can in her garage and realizes she's been sitting on a small fortune. These aren't stories of luck. These are stories of awareness. Stories of people who learned what to look for and acted before it was too late. Now pause for a moment. Look around your home. That closet. That coin jar. That dusty box in the attic you haven't opened since the Clinton administration. What if your financial breakthrough is already sitting inside your house, quietly waiting for you to notice it? This is where most people make a mistake. They underestimate small things. They underestimate pennies. We're trained to see them as worthless. But the wealthy know better. Wealthy people pay attention to details. They recognize overlooked opportunities. They understand that sometimes the smallest objects hold the greatest value. And speaking of small things, quick pattern interrupt. Isn't it strange that a penny, yes, a 1-cent coin, can now be worth more than multiple Ferraris combined? If pennies had feelings, this one would probably strut like it owned Wall Street. But let's get serious again because this part matters. If you're holding a 1958 d'Wheat penny with the rare doubling error, you aren't holding a coin. You're holding leverage. You're holding the kind of financial shift most people only dream about. You now have something that collectors, dealers, and high-end investors desperately want. And that demand creates power, your power. Now we enter Act 3, the moment where everything comes together. The big question: why is the 1958 d'Error penny commanding such high prices today? The answer is simple but electrifying. Supply is collapsing while demand is exploding. Investors are diversifying into physical assets. Collectors are paying more than ever to secure ultra-rare coins. Auction houses are reporting record-breaking bids year after year. And the 1958 d'Wheat penny sits at the center of this storm, one of the rarest, most desirable pennies ever minted. Here's the cliffhanger you didn't expect. Experts believe the value of this coin may climb even higher. Some estimate that the next confirmed sale could push past $1 million. Yes, a penny crossing the $1 million mark. Imagine telling your friends that your wealth transformation started with the smallest coin in your pocket. You'd have the most unexpected millionaire story in the room. But here's where urgency kicks in again. Coins like this don't sit around forever. Every time another one is authenticated, the market shifts. Every time a collector adds one to a private vault, the value of remaining examples climbs. If you have old wheat pennies in your house, now is the moment to check them. Not next year, not next month, today. And if you discover something special, anything unusual, don't hesitate. The market is burning hot. Wealth favors the bold, and opportunity rewards the prepared. So as we close this video, remember this. True wealth doesn't always arrive in obvious forms. Sometimes it hides in plain sight. Sometimes it hides in forgotten jars. And sometimes it hides inside a single copper penny from 1958 that can change your life forever. Your next step is simple. Go find your coins. Examine them carefully, because the next person who uncovers a six-figure treasure could very well be you. And your journey to a wealthier, freer life could begin with one extraordinary wheat penny. Imagine waking up one morning to discover that a single copper penny, something you've stepped over, ignored, or tossed into a drawer, could be worth more than a luxury home in Malibu. Sounds unbelievable, doesn't it? Yet right now, collectors across the United States are scrambling to find one specific coin, the legendary 1958 no-mint mark wheat penny, a coin recently valued in the market at a jaw-dropping $888,000. Yes, you heard that right. A penny that could rewrite your financial reality. Before you assume you could never be that lucky, let me ask you something. When was the last time you checked every coin in your house? Your grandparents' jars? The box of junk change in the attic? If your answer is never, stay right here, your life might be about to change. Now, I know what you're thinking. A penny worth nearly $1 million? Come on. But here's the twist. It's real, it's documented, and collectors are literally hunting these coins as aggressively as treasure seekers hunt for gold. And before we go any further, here's a little pattern interrupt. If you're watching this while ignoring that old coin jar in the corner, don't worry, we're not judging. Yet. But by the end of this video, you may sprint to it faster than someone chasing the last slice of pizza at a family reunion. Let's dig into why this coin is shaking the collector world right now and how you can find out if you're sitting on a life-changing fortune. To understand why the 1958 no-mint mark wheat penny holds such magnetic power today, we need to step back into a time when America was in the middle of transformation. The year was 1958. Elvis was topping the charts, NASA was just beginning its journey to the stars, and the US Mint was striking the final years of the iconic Wheat Cent series. But here's where things get interesting. In the midst of everyday production, a mysterious batch of 1958 pennies was struck without the usual Philadelphia Mint signature signs, and with an error so rare that collectors today describe it as miracle-level chance. Only a microscopic handful are known to exist, and every time one surfaces, the value doesn't just rise. It rockets. There's something emotionally powerful about holding a coin that the world nearly forgot. A coin that passed through unnoticed hands for decades. A coin that maybe paid for a cup of coffee, a bus ticket, or a newspaper, not knowing it carried within it the power to transform someone's financial destiny half a century later. And here's the fear trigger, the one that grips every collector and seller. Most people who once held this penny in their hands had no idea. They spent it. They lost it. They let life-changing money slip through their fingers without ever knowing its true worth. That's why it's so important to understand what this coin is, what it looks like, and why the current market is exploding with demand. Before we get into the value, here comes your next pattern interrupt. Let me ask you this. Why do we keep the most valuable things buried in boxes we haven't opened since the Clinton administration? Seriously, we guard our passwords with our lives, but our rare coins? Those end up next to paper clips and expired coupons. But today that ends because once you see what this penny is worth, you will never look at loose change the same way again. Now let's talk value. The most recent market estimate for a high-grade, error-confirmed 1958 no-mint mark wheat penny is an astonishing $888,000. Not just a collector's fantasy, not a theoretical number, a real present-day valuation driven by massive demand, fierce competition at auctions, and the rarest combination of condition, history, and anomaly. This coin is not just valuable. It is a symbol of what hidden wealth truly looks like. It's the reason ordinary Americans, people just like you, have transformed forgotten change into generational assets. But here's the cliffhanger. The story doesn't end there. Some experts believe that as more collectors enter the market and as more rare coins disappear into long-term private collections, the next confirmed discovery of this penny could break the $1 million mark, possibly even double it. Imagine finding one now and watching its value climb year after year. Imagine knowing you held something so rare that auction houses would fight over the chance to sell it. Imagine the feeling of realizing that this wasn't luck. It was awareness, knowledge, and action. As we move toward the final moments of this video, I want you to pause and think about your own coins, your own collections, your parents' and grandparents' old drawers and envelopes. Could you be sitting on your own treasure? Could you be one careful search away from the life you always envisioned? The home you want, the freedom you dream of, the lifestyle you deserve? And before we close, Let's break your attention one more time with a simple question. Why are you still sitting here empty-handed? Go grab your coins. I'm serious. If this video ends and you don't check at least one old drawer, we're going to have a problem. Now, here's your moment of empowerment. The world of rare coins isn't just for experts. It's for anyone with curiosity, awareness, and the willingness to take action. This 1958 no-mint mark wheat penny proves that incredible wealth can hide in the most ordinary places. The current market is hot, the demand is soaring, and collectors are paying big because these coins are disappearing fast. If you've ever wanted to step into a wealth-building opportunity that's real, tangible, and already changing lives, this is your sign. Stay inspired, stay curious, and stay ready, because the next rare penny that changes someone's life could be the one sitting in your own home right now. And if you want more videos that reveal the truth about rare coins worth thousands, hundreds of thousands, and even millions of dollars, make sure you're here for the next episode, because what I'm going to reveal next will blow your mind even more.